All right. Now that we're all pretty much back together, I have the pleasure of introducing our second keynote speaker of the afternoon. It is Mindy McBee, who is a resident of Fairway, Kansas, and she's quickly worked her way up the ladder at Cargill, currently working as a strategic account sales leader. During her time at K-State, Mindy was involved in Quest Freshman Honorary, Silver Key Sophomore Honorary, Blue Key Senior Honorary, and again, SAB, which she was actually the president of her senior year. She also worked as a Wildcat warm-up counselor and a manager for the women's basketball team. And she sat on the search committee for the Dean of Agriculture position. Mindy's nominator, Elizabeth Patton, says of her, she is a change agent in any position she is placed in. So please help join me in welcoming Mindy McBee.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone, for having me today. I did want to start off today with a few thank yous because I will run out of time at the end. So I did want to give a huge thank you to the Alumni Association. So the Alumni Association has really been my second family for a very long time. And I'm already going to get a little emotional. What is wrong with me? Okay, so the Alumni Association has been my second family for a very long time. So we've got Amy here and Andrea and Tammy in the back. Megan Brooker, who wishes she could be here and used to work at the Alumni Association whenever I was there. Colin Just, our current SAB advisor. Jessica, my dear friend who I just got to reconnect with. And then most importantly, our students. So our student leaders like Sam, who put this program together. Can't tell you how much I appreciate this honor and this recognition and to see you guys keeping our Student Alumni Board tradition alive. I also want to thank my Blue Keyers here. So I had an awesome meeting this morning with them and really enjoyed getting to know them. And glad to see that the Blue Key traditions and energy is alive and well as well. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to nominate me, especially Elizabeth, for writing such a great nomination and making me sound so cool and distinguished so that I could get this honor. So thank you all. Thank you, thank you. And then I'd also like to give a shout out to my family who traveled very far to, well, a few hours, but they traveled far to get here. And then my husband in the middle, who's also in this photo up here, he is our Mizzou grad, but posing as an alumni today with his pin. You have to check it out. But he's been a great K-State supporter and really appreciate all that he's done for me. So with that, I'd like to just tell you my story and kind of share a few thoughts around what helped me get to where I am today. So I wanted to take you back to the beginning. So I'm a farm kid. I grew up in Westphalia, Kansas, which the next biggest town would be Garnett, Kansas, if you've heard of that. These are pictures of my sister and I troopsing around the farm and getting up to no good. We got a lot of really good life lessons early on. So we got to have animals and chore responsibilities and busy parents who did not back us up if we did not get our responsibilities done. I also had busy parents who taught us that work-life balance in agriculture really doesn't exist. And that was an important lesson, especially for my career as it is today. And it taught me that you better care a lot about what you do so that work and life can coexist together because there will never be a perfect balance in agriculture. As much as I loved growing up on the farm and as much as I realized how much value that has given my life, I was never really wanting or interested in staying on the farm or interested in coming back to small town Kansas. And my husband and I found this over Christmas. But when I was in 5th grade, 11 years old, I had to write a book for school. And I wrote this about the author. And you might be reading this behind me, and there's a few real gems in there. But the most important point to drive home what I'm sharing with you is the ending, which was, Mindy doesn't care what she does, but she wants to live in California or New York, and she hopes to be very rich. So I think this shows that I was ambitious from a young age and also maybe a little bit of a piece of work from a very young age. So after my, awesome childhood on the farm and my, I'm trying to realize my dreams to get away from the farm, it's coming time for me to leave high school and choose where to go to college. And I will tell you that when I thought of Kansas State, I thought of farming, agriculture. It was not a place that I was interested in attending whatsoever. But my mother, being the wise woman that she is, said, we're going to visit anyways. And so what she says, we do. And we arrived on campus my junior year to take, the standard campus visit. And I had an amazing experience, as I'm sure most of you did as well. So I got on campus. Really starting from my campus tour, I vividly remember Katie Neatery was my tour guide, and by the end of it, I was like, she's amazing, I want to be just like her, she's so poised and awesome, and I really started visualizing myself succeeding at K-State. Next, we met with Larry Mader, the famous Larry Mader, and we talked about financial aid, and that was a heavy topic for us, but he made college, and especially K-State, seem so practical, so attainable, gave us a very clear roadmap for scholarships and how to seek those out, and really made us very comfortable with the idea of me coming to Manhattan for school. And then to seal the deal, we met with Megan Brooker today, who was my admissions representative, and then later, my SAB advisor. But we hit it off right away. She made me feel so included, like K-State would really be a better place if I chose here to come to college. She followed up with me. She helped me get my first job. I mean, the woman was incredible. And I was not the only person she treated like this, right? She knows everybody in the state of Kansas. So she's the reason why I think we have a lot of really successful K-Staters here today. So I had an amazing experience, decided I think I'm gonna fit here. The feel is right. Let's go. Let's go to K-State. And so Sam did a great job of introducing me and some of the things that I got involved in on campus. The Alumni Association really was incredibly important to my time and my leadership and development as a student. I think the main thing that I wanted to share with you about my time as being a K-Stater is that the culture that you all feel, the family feel, the fun that you're having, it was very much alive and well then, and that is the first things that I think about when I think about my time on campus. And then most importantly, I think about having fun. So this is my Blue Key class. I don't know where we're going or what we're doing, but we're driving somewhere. And the look on my face there just shows how good of a time that I'm having and how much I truly enjoyed the relationships and the people that I met on campus. So that being said, I had very high expectations for what I was gonna do after college. How was I gonna replicate this feel, this fit, the fun, the people? And I know I have students say the same thing to me today as I'm back, working with them or recruiting. And so, I'm happy to say that honestly, my recruiting process for Cargill was very similar. I loved the people I interviewed with. They really had their stuff together. They helped paint the vision of what could be possible in a career at Cargill. My recruiter was awesome. Again, she made me feel like I could make Cargill a better place if I chose to go there. And really, the parallels didn't just end at recruiting. So during my internship, it was that same inclusive family feel that we all experience here at K-State. And so it was a very easy decision at the end of the day for me to choose to go to Cargill for my career. But one thing I quickly learned at Cargill, and I think that you guys have probably experienced in different pockets, even at K-State, is as amazing as the overall culture is, the overall vision, the purpose, why we're all here, is there are pockets of disengagement. There are places where our culture falls down and it doesn't work. 3 years into my career, I moved to an office, and I literally remember that office as being like dark and dreary, and people were very quiet, and it was not a fun place to be. That culture that I had felt in my previous Cargill offices was not there. So a group of us started an engagement committee. As any good SABer or former student alumni board member, I was like, I have an idea for this, right? And so we formed a committee, we got support from senior leadership, and we started our engagement committee that really just started doing the small things. The small things to make people feel heard, appreciated, known, recognized, and we created a snowball effect very quickly and helped to align and kind of right the culture. So DMAC, the CEO of Cargill, what I'm trying to say here is he cannot dictate from his level in the organization, this is how Cargill culture is going to be. President Myers, from his level in the K-State organization, can't dictate what the K-State culture and feel is going to be. You all create that every single day. So we have student leaders in here that make the choice to get out of bed every morning, so have a pleasant look on their face as they walk across campus, help each other out, they get involved. You have ideas to make things better when maybe there are pockets that the culture is falling down. I was talking with Mary Toller about this morning in this message, and it's Mary Toller approved because she said this is what she tries to share with students all the time, right? Creating that inclusive environment is a job that we all have to show up for every single day. And I think that me being willing to jump in and do that, and what I learned from K-State has been a huge part of what's helped make me successful thus far at Cargill. And one way that I have loved being able to continue to influence the culture at Cargill is who we are recruiting. And so I've been able to stay very connected with K-State during my time at Cargill. I've been involved in what's called our K-State Steering Committee, or sometimes we call ourselves the Higher Ed Committee. But basically, it's a group of very passionate alumni, and that's the group that started Project Impact on campus. That's the group that started Cargill Fellows. That's the group that helped make sure we got this beautiful room right outside of this hall to house students and to teach them about inclusive and diverse leadership. So I've been very excited, to be involved with that throughout my time at Cargill, and it's been a very important part of my employee engagement. And one thing that I like to share with students is this has kind of become my extracurricular, right? At K-State, you don't just go to class and that's it. And at Cargill, I don't just work and get the job done, that's it. This has become my extracurricular. And sometimes, that just does a good job of painting how you can still chase after your passions and do things that are really exciting to you as you move into your career, even if your day-to-day is not super exciting. What I also wanted to share is a little bit about some Cargill experiences that I've had that I think have really helped shape and grow me as a leader. And these experiences that I'm sharing are ones that have really put me outside of my comfort zone. So, I grew up in rural Kansas. I came to K-State. Honestly, spent a lot of time with a lot of people who were a lot like me. And I learned a lot, and my leadership developed in immense ways here on campus. But I've been able to experience a lot of different things throughout my time at Cargill. And these photos show an assignment that I took on leading part of an integration where Cargill bought another company, and I spent a significant amount of time in Richmond, Virginia for about a year, helping to meld two cultures together without one feeling like the other is swallowing it up, and then paying respect to the history and the expertise that these employees that we had just acquired really brought to the equation. This is one of the highlights of my Cargill career, and I think what really got me through it was my ability to be a vulnerable leader. So to be humble, to be real, to be genuine, to share when I didn't know what the best answer was. I'd never done an integration before. I didn't totally understand what I was even being asked of me, but I was willing to admit that, and that helped me build trust very, very quickly. And I think as you do that, and you move through your student career and then into your professional career, if you are willing to say that you don't know, to be humble, you are going to actually get ahead much faster. And I know that seems so counterintuitive, but if I have an employee that's willing to say I don't know, hey, I need help, I'm going to trust them with a lot more than just handing the reins over to someone that I might not hear from for 6 months, and then a project's done and implemented, and it was not what the vision was at all. So showing that you're willing to be collaborative and genuine is going to help you immensely. And then these other two photos, similar types of experiences, stretched me, got me out of my comfort zone. This was a trip that I took to one of our locations in Irapuato, Mexico. So for a short assignment there. And then on the far right is this last fall, I got to go to this conference called One Young World. Lots of heavy topics, climate change, human rights issues, and there were lots of celebrities there. So I included a photo of J.K. Rowling speaking, which officially made my life. When she walked out on stage, I really started crying. But she was sharing about a charity that her foundation started. And I went to this conference with 13 other Cargill leaders, similar age, all from very different backgrounds in different countries across the globe. So again, just getting me outside my comfort zone, making me think differently, and teaching me to be humble in a totally different way. Last, I would be remiss if I did not talk about the people that have been a part of my career. So what I have found is that probably the highlights of my career have been when an energized team has won together. So I mentioned that integration I worked on. We formed a very tight-knit team. We won and lost together. This top right photo is a group of about 20 leaders from the business that I work in accepting a Business of the Year award. If you can see my face, I'm cracking up. I look like I'm having the time of my life, and truly I was. Winning with that group of people and getting to go on stage and accept a big award was just so special to me. Also pictured in these photos are a couple key mentors that I've had at Cargill. And mentorship has been extremely important to my career. And You'll notice that your program says I have one job, and Sam introduced me as having a different job, so that's a very recent change. And the 2 jobs that I just changed in between are extremely different. I would not have been able to make that leap without strong mentorship and someone advocating for what they really thought I was capable of doing. And that mentor is a K-Stater as well, and a lot of you know him, but very near and dear to my heart. So just wanted to share this, the people make everything. Your mentors can make things happen. Never forget, how important they are. So lastly, I think you'll have heard these themes as I've kind of gone through my experiences, but if there's a few key takeaways that you could leave with today, it would be this. So number 1, culture is key. But culture is not accidental, and you are a part of it every single day. As leaders, you've got to show up, you've got to make it happen, and you've got to make changes if things are not working, if people aren't happy, if teams aren't high performing. Number 2, be yourself. Be genuine, be humble, ask for help. You will build trust so much faster with people and get so much further ahead in your career. Number 3, mentorship. I've said it once, I don't really know what else to say here, but if you think about key mentors that you've had in your life, and I bet you guys could all think of a few that you've even had during your time on K-State's campus, but they will remove barriers for you. They will bring you opportunities that you never even thought you were capable of. Building those mentor relationships is just so vital. Number 4, your people. So from a very early age, my mother taught me that who you hang around with is very important to who you are going to become. And she started telling me this when she was trying to scare me out of making bad friends in high school. But she still believes this today, and I truly believe it as well. So I think you all have probably heard this saying, you are an average of maybe the 5 closest people to you. So if you don't like those people, then you need to challenge yourself to make some new friends, some different, put some different influencers in your life. So the people that are closest to you should challenge you, they should inspire you. And as I've gone through my K-State career, I was able to find that. As I've gone through my Cargill career, I've been able to find that, and they've truly made me a better person. And then last, be passionate and have fun. And what I'll share about this is, so you guys already heard me kind of tearing up at the beginning of this speech. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not scared of that. I'm not scared of the emotion. And Amy Buttonrens taught me that, actually. So my senior year, during the final SAB banquet, I won the SAB Member of the Year award, and I had to get up and say a few words. And I just started bawling during it and couldn't get through it. And I was so embarrassed afterwards. And Amy came and gave me a huge hug, and she said, Mindy, crying just shows that you care. Never be ashamed of that. People cry, people get upset, people get emotional, and that's okay. It means they care. And if you're being yourself, if you're being vulnerable, if you're being genuine, you can create a safe environment where everyone around you feels like they can really express what's important to them, and that's so vital in your leadership journey. So be passionate, care, get upset, get happy. It'll also get you ahead. And then lastly, for the love of God, please keep having fun. I want you all to look back at your K-State experience and just remember the good times and the laughter, and carry that with you. People want to work with people that enjoy themselves and enjoy life. So every day, try to find something to smile about, something to laugh about, make someone else smile and laugh, and I think you'll go very far. And that is all I have for you. Any questions?
All right, thank you so much, Mindy. And again, we have a short time for a brief Q&A period. So if anybody has thought up some questions, just raise your hand, and again, I'll bring the microphone to you.
Hi, Mindy. Okay. You mentioned in your talk about the pocket of Cargill, the office that you moved to, that you remember even just as a dark place because it didn't have the culture that you loved. And you also mentioned that you enacted certain things to turn the tide. And I was wondering if you could touch briefly on what you specifically did in this circumstance to change the culture.
Yeah. So that was a few years ago now, but that time in particular, there was a group of us that, there were 3 of us specifically. I remember that, we were sitting around one day and we're like, this is just not that enjoyable to be in. We hear this type of chatter, there's some drama, there's some rumors, there's just a lack of trust and just genuine excitement to be in the office. And so what we brainstormed, I'm trying to remember exactly what we did, but we started doing things like randomly bringing in breakfast for everyone and getting everybody to come to the break room and have a quick bite to eat together. We started doing things like writing, giving people the opportunity to write people notes of recognition, and then we would deliver them for them. So just, hey, I see you, you're doing a great job, thanks for everything that you do. And what we did is we had a goal to do an activity and an office-wide activity every single month. And honestly, we started very small, very low budget. It does not take that much to start gaining momentum in something like this. And we just really built from there. And then today, if you look at our Olathe office, we have a 10 to 12 person engagement committee with a far bigger budget, and they're doing way better activities. And that's because Cargill's recognized the importance and the investment that they need to make in this key area.
Hi, Mindy. Thanks for coming to talk today. You talked a lot about your different engagements that you were involved in at K-State, and as well as your different commitments outside of K-State. But how is it that you balance all that time and focus where you want to put the most of your passion?
Yeah, so I think I'm still figuring that out. And I think that I've had some conversations with students even this week when I've been on campus, right? I kind of, in my experience and what I've gathered from a lot of my friends, right, is right out of school, your 20s are crazy. And you're probably going to mostly focus on work and just proving yourself there. And I think that's okay. I think that's fine. I think it's necessary. I think you're going to find maybe some other passions at work, like I did in K-State recruiting, and that's going to help, fill your cup a little bit on top of the day-to-day work that you have to do. But I do think that you have to be intentional and strategic at some point, maybe your late 20s to early 30s, which is what I'm trying to do now, and take a step back and say, what am I going to be known for outside of my career? I took this leadership course once where we had to write our 80th birthday toasts. And so we had to talk on behalf of someone else important in our life and share what we wanted them to say about us throughout our life. And that was such a powerful exercise for me. And it helped me realize that, I got to be known for something outside of working for Cargill. I got to be known for something outside of selling animal feed. And just that is what really, I think, was the catalyst to help me start thinking about that and helping maybe define my purpose at work and outside of work. But it's hard, and everybody does it differently, and it's never going to be perfect, and you're going to go through periods of your life where your balance is completely screwed up either way because you're human, and that's okay.
All right, same thing. Let's try and have one more good question to cap off the evening.
One more good question. Scary.
Thanks so much, Mindy. As a sophomore in college, going into my junior year, mentoring is a word that I definitely hear a lot going both ways. What tips do you have for people both seeking to mentor those coming after them, and also, especially, what tips do you have in going the reverse way and finding mentors, and how do you develop mentorship going upwards?
Yeah, so I think first of all, if you want to mentor someone, it's about making yourself available, right? And you cannot force it. You cannot go to someone and say, I'm gonna be your mentor now, right? That's creepy, don't do that. But I think the best thing you can do is just get the word out there, right? So think about your advisors, think about maybe your teachers that you're really close with, and just putting the word out there that, hey, this is something I'd really like to get better at, and just offer as a service to pay it forward. And I think slowly the mentors will come. I will tell you, as I've gotten later in my career, I've gotten asked far more often to be people's mentors as well. So sometimes it's a timing thing as well, and that's okay. You don't need to pay it forward maybe yet. Keep bottling it up and getting it ready for when you're later on in your career and more people are asking for it. So I've certainly felt that the asks are far more frequent today than they were maybe 5 years ago. As far as seeking a mentor, a lot of people go about this in different ways. I think sometimes you are lucky enough to stumble upon one, right? So maybe you have an advisor for an organization that you just really love, or it could be your high school principal that you still keep in touch with. It could be a professor that's in your industry that's willing to connect you. Some things you just stumble upon, and sometimes you do not stumble upon them, and then you really need to ask for help. And that's what I advise people early in their career when they're looking for mentors. They need to go to a few people that they trust. Maybe for whatever reason, they trust this person, but they don't think they're the right fit for a mentorship. And you need to ask for help, and you need to brainstorm. And what's really helpful in that is to think about what you want to get out of it. So why do you want a mentor? What are you looking for? And what are the maybe 3 key things that you think a mentor could really help you with? And that's going to help them steer the direction of what you really need and want. Because at different periods of your life, you're going to need and want different things as well. You might want a confidant more than a career advisor. And then you might also want someone who can just kind of open some doors and guide you in the right direction. So you've got to ask for help, be vulnerable, share what you're looking for, and then hopefully that person can help you find someone else, because it's not always easy to do on your own. And walking around and it's like, Are You My Mother, the Dr. Seuss book? Like, are you my mentor? Are you my mentor? Like, that doesn't always work. So you really need to ask for help from people that you trust. Mm-hmm.
Can we get one more round of applause for Sarah and Mindy today? Obviously, as you've heard, they're both very accomplished, very busy people. So thank you both again for carving time out of your week and coming and joining us. And that will conclude our program. So thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Have a great evening and have a safe trip home. So thank you.